So we've gone over a lot of education together between what we've learned on our calls, the videos that I've been sharing with you, and now we're going to move into some more nuanced education around setting expectations, what are some things that might hinder you, help you, etc., and just learn a little bit more. Today's video is going to be all around level setting expectations with yourself so that you can have a realistic vision of what this process is going to look like. There are two categories that we're going to talk about today, and one is going to be the fat loss side of things, and one is going to be the muscle building side of things. These are two things that happen in usually two separate phases. However, we're going to address what we call newbie gains first. If you are very, very new to weight training, it is likely that you are going to lose body fat and replace it with some muscle in the early months here. That does not mean that we are not doing things successfully, because the scale isn't going to move a whole ton. We are just taking one tissue and replacing it with another. And the way that I like to look at this is like the feather and brick analogy. A pound of feathers and a pound of brick are exactly the same weight. However, a pound of feathers is going to be this big, massive bag, and a pound of brick is going to be like half of a brick. So when we go in and we take out body fat, which would be our feathers, it's taking up less space on our body. But when we put in muscle, we're replacing it with brick, which is much more dense and it takes up less space on our body. So the weight stays the same, however, our size decreases. This is why we do take progress photos. So I did want to address that is possible if you are in that stage. Now, if you are someone who has been lifting for a fairly significant amount of time, you've put on a reasonable amount of muscle, it's a lot slower. It's not impossible to do that in a maintenance phase, but it's not likely in a fat loss phase at this point in time. So our focus is going to be more on changes in our physical appearance and trends within the scale. And when we talk about a fat loss phase, realistically, when we aren't a newbie, seeing significant physical change and feeling significant physical change is going to take about 6 to 8 weeks, realistically. And I'm not sugarcoating it for you. It doesn't mean that you might not see subtle changes in between the beginning and then, but really a lot of people are like, nothing's happening until 6 to 8 weeks down the line. I show them their progress photos side by side and they go, oh, hey, a lot has actually changed. And again, the scale isn't everything. It might not be doing this big drastic drop that we want. It might look a little bit hilly on the way down. And again, that's normal because our bodies do fluctuate. So I did want to level set that expectation with you. And I also want to talk about how does this 6 to 8 weeks look? Now we are looking at consistency over time. And I would say 85 to 90% compliant to your calorie and protein goals is going to be essential in this time to get the best results possible. Now, some weeks might be 60% and other weeks might be 95%, and some of this levels out in between. But this is why we have those consistency trackers on our dashboards that we can track different habits that we've been working on, and we can look at our nutrition graphs as well within the app and see, where has our compliance really been over the last few weeks. So those are important tools to utilize when it comes to understanding compliance there. And then again, your accuracy does matter. So it doesn't matter if you put into the app that you hit all of these goals, if the reality is on the weekends we're having extra ice cream, we're having a dinner out that we didn't log, we put our meal that we were supposed to eat from home instead, etc. So that accuracy does play a role in it too. And then we're going to talk about the building muscle side of things over here. This is what we call building or bulking. And it's really intimidating to people because they're like, I don't want to gain all this weight back in this body fat. That's not what happens. You do gain a minimal amount of body fat, and that is my job as your coach to make sure you aren't gaining a ton. But what we're looking at really here is a 5 to 15% increase in calories, which is not that much. It's just enough to give your body a little bit more fuel to build that muscle tissue that we are looking for. And that is how we actually put on more definitive muscle. And then we go through another fat loss phase to reveal it. Because again, it's not logical to expect no body fat to come on when we're eating in a little bit of a surplus. But there is going to be a little bit that you're probably going to want to do another quick calorie deficit to reveal what it is that you have done. In between there are maintenance phases, and those are beautiful, and those don't really have a length of time, and there is no exact science to it, but it is something that I help you as a coach understand and be able to do effortlessly once we complete whatever phase we're currently in. So again, just wanted to level set expectations there. Building, which I should mention, to actually see that muscle is going to take at least 6 months. Building muscle is very, very hard. It's why when people say, I don't want to get bulky, I can tell them with a dead straight face, you don't have to worry about it. It takes a lot of effort to build muscle, and a good amount of calorie surplus time to do it. So 6 months is like the beginning of muscle gain, and I tell people a full year to really see a significant difference in your physique. So those are our expectations. That is the understanding. You know, we want to be 85 to 90% compliant. We want to give it a good 6 to 8 weeks. And again, those 6 to 8 weeks start when we start hitting those calorie and protein targets on a consistent basis. So if you're in your 3rd week here and you're just starting to get the hang of that, think 6 to 8 weeks from this week. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns.